So this is a short video about how to find and look into the details of a bond issue. I logged into the SEC's EDGAR search engine. This is where we can access individual filings of companies. And I'm more particularly interested in a bond issue. And as usual, I'm going to use Apple as an lecture example, simply because they seem to have a lot more information readily available compared to other companies. So notice the link for the sec.gov/edgar/search and access. I'm actually going to go to the search by the company or fund name. And then the ticker symbol for Apple is AAPL. And notice as I type it, you actually see the list with Apple, and notice the CIK number. So I'm just going to click on that. And now we are looking for a new issue, and usually the Form-424 is the issue that we can find the filing that we can find for new issues. But be careful, because with the 424, the companies can also file new stock issues, new bond issues, and amendments to the previous issues and subsequent issues as well. So I just want to actually get a list of all the filings. So I'm just going to click on the view filings. And notice how I have now the list of filings that I can go by. Now, obviously, I could just simply look at the list. And like I said, with Apple, they have a little bit more information and variety of information available. And if the companies that you're working on do not have this specific prospectus, you may want to look into other companies, and that may actually make your life a little bit easier. So I'm just going to go to the 424 B2 and then click on it just to see what it is, right? And notice this is actually one of the prospectuses that I was looking for. This is a bond issue. I know it because you see different issues, and it says notes right here. So this is the link that I have for the specific issue, the SEC.gov archives, EDGAR data, and then the actual specific link to the issue. Notice that we have an actual maturity structure here. We have 4 different issues. One expires or matures in 2029. The second one matures in 2032. The third one, 2052. And the fourth one, surprisingly, 2062. So that's actually a 40-year bond. Even the US government doesn't have a 40-year bond. So, and then you have the face amounts. You have $1 billion, $1.5 billion, $1.5 billion, $1.75, and then $1.25 billion. Apple is a cash-rich company, so why would they actually need to raise these funds? And we'll see if they actually explain that in the prospectus. But the total is $5.5 billion. And let's see if we can find the yield structure, and then the underwriters, and who are the underwriters and why are they issuing this. And notice, by the way, these are the intended yield for these issues, meaning when Apple has an auction for these bonds and goes through the underwriters to sell them, they will actually discount the bonds if they are zero coupon bonds, and these will be the final yield that ends up becoming based on the prices they accept on the day of the sale. But if it is a coupon paying bond, then the yield will also include the actual value of the present value of the coupons. So notice how we have risk factors, which we're going to look in a minute. But this is a little bit more specific of the yield basically given for these issues and the amounts, and then how much proceeds will Apple receive after the yields and after the actual sale. These are what they call the running managers, the underwriters, and Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley. And then you have the co-managers, and these are HSBC and the others. So let's see if we can find the risk factors, and you see how on the table of contents we have the risk factors right here. And so some of the risk factors, important ones, I guess, the notes are structurally subordinated to the liabilities of our subsidiaries. The notes are subject to prior claims of any of our and our subsidiary secured creditors. So there's the seniority, obviously, before these specific issues. Apple already issued some bonds, and they're outstanding, and therefore these actually get in line. But reading the details of these risks are quite interesting, actually. Sometimes they can actually be quite revealing about individual companies. One of my earlier studies, I actually did an analysis of IPO prospectus, and quite a few of them actually mentioned that they could go out of business immediately after the IPO, and I don't think people paid much attention to that detail. But anyhow, so these are the risk factors that you can read through, and notice how extensive these risk factors are. And then here they explain why they need the money. So they say we estimate the net proceeds from the sales to be approximately 5.46 billion. And after deducting underwriting discounts and the expenses, and we intend to use such net proceeds for general corporate purposes, including repurchases of our common stock and paying dividends. So they're basically borrowing to buy back stocks and borrowing to pay dividends. And like I said, in the example of Apple, this is a little bit more complicated for the purpose of this video, but the idea is really for Apple to have so much cash, but most of that cash is not in the US, and therefore there are tax issues that Apple has to worry about. But in any case, that's basically, this is the use of proceeds. They have to tell us why they're borrowing the funds. Otherwise, it will be harder to sell these bonds to anybody. So we went through the link for the specific prospectus, the maturity structure, the yield structure, the risk factors, and why do the issuer needs the money, and who are the underwriters. So it's a simple prospectus, but it is actually significant information. We don't usually read so much into this, but if you're going to be investing in it, obviously you may want to make yourself familiar with the details of this prospectus, which will include significant information. So thank you, and have a great day.